This is Diamond Jim Reedy, and I was taking a new pilot right from the United States, had not flown a Mission 1, but thought he was the greatest ace that ever hit the earth. And of course, I knew he wasn't because I was. But that's the way I looked at it. And so I took him, and he had a lot to learn because I had probably 100 missions by then, and he had zero. And so I took him on his first mission, and they gave me the job of going to a certain area to see if there was a Japanese cruiser there. Now, I'm not a dumb idiot. If there is a cruiser there, you can't send two dumb pilots over there to jump on a Japanese cruiser. That's they're loaded with guns. And it takes a combination of attacks to go after something like that. And of course, I'm taking this boy on his first mission. I don't want to get him killed on his first day. And that's sure as heck what would happen if I take him to a cruiser. And I thought, well, if they really wanted to go after a cruiser, they could send a lot more planes than one or two. So I'm not going to be so dumb as I'm going to be the sacrifice. And I'm not going to sacrifice the guy on his first mission. So I flew out past all the Japanese fields and out to sea. I knew they was following me on radar, and I went way down the coast, and I thought I would come back and let him be shot at for his first time in his life with 90 millimeters. But I'm going to come down about 5 foot off the beach at 400 miles an hour, and I figure they don't know I'm coming because I went out to sea and they followed me. And then I'll come back right on the beach and go across there, and I'm assuming they'll get one or two shots at us. I was wrong. They were smarter than that. They got 10 or 15 shots off at it. That's 10 or 15 millimeters of 90 millimeters. I was really surprised at how many shots they got off us. I went across at 400 miles an hour, and they weren't hitting us. I had him maneuvering up and down, and as we went across, he radioed me. He said, "That's them. Let's go after them." Well, I've been there 100 missions or so now. And I said, "You stay right where you're at. I'll take you over there when you're ready, but I'm not taking you to your death the first day you come here." So I took him back. Two things I did not do. I did not go anywhere near the area that they say they may be a Japanese cruiser, and just with me and a guy on his first mission. And I'm not going to get him killed on his first day. I'm not scared of the day, but I know better than jump on a cruiser by myself. It's an island of guns, and I'm not going to do it. He must be playing better than that. So I took him on in, and the very next day, would you believe it? I was scheduled with this pilot on his second mission. And No, I can't depend on him because he's not experienced at being shot at with big guns, and he's not been in combat enough. And I don't want to get him killed on his missions. So I, I have to tell you that he was very eager, and we went over and strafed a airfield a little bit. I didn't bring him into any danger that I thought might cost him his life, because I knew by then I had flown so many missions, I knew where all the heavy stuff was. So I didn't take him into that. I didn't want to get him killed on his second day, and first day either. And then I headed back, and like a stupid guy that don't know no better, he started drifting back. Well, he's supposed to be flying for combat formation up within very close to where he could protect my wing and my tail, and I can protect his by being an observation of what I'm seeing. And he drifted back probably 1,000 yards, something like that back. But we was nearly on our way home, and I am known that nobody can get in the sky, not even if you're a speck, without me knowing you're there. And I saw a speck in my upper left-hand sky, way up above us. And he started stalking my wingman, which was about 1,000 yards behind me, where he's supposed to be up there right with me, as if he was a team, but he had not experienced. And so he was sitting back there, an ideal target. And a lot of people looked down on me because I let him stay there, because I had trained myself to fight a Zero, and everybody knows I wanted a Zero to try to attack me, but he was trying to attack my wingman. And so I did not call him and tell him there was Zero lining in on him, and the Zero was going about the 400 miles an hour, and he went over and got up above and behind my wingman. Then he started his dive, and I made my turn. Now, we're both flying Air Cobras. I'm flying 400 miles an hour. He's flying 400 miles an hour. I can close on him with 800 miles an hour, when that guy is trying to match 4 or 5 or something for the dive at 400 miles an hour, which I knew I could get to him before he could get to the wingman. I set him up, and I went right at him. I cut all my guns on him, my cannon and everything, 450s and a 30-centimeter cannon. But so far I haven't established who it is. But it is a single-engine radial fighter, which I had never seen a boomerang. So that described a Zero to a T. But I did not fire because I did not know what it was. And he was diving at my wingman. And I'm between him and my wingman. He's got to go through my bullets before he can get to his. And all of a sudden, he turned up his wing and turned to the left with a steep pull out. And I saw the great big Australian emblem on that plane. And I thought, it's a damn Australian boomerang. So I can't fire now. And I was said I put my gun sight right about 2 feet above his cockpit because we're flying straight at each other, and all I had to do is snap my buttons, and I'd have fired 450s and a 37 millimeter at him, and he would fire 420 millimeters at me. Well, I got all my bulletproof glass and stuff in the front, so I'm assuming I'm better off than him. My gas tank is bulletproof, and so I figured I'd trade shots with a zero anytime. And he peeled up with a pullout. It finally dawned on him he was diving on 2 Airacobras P-39s. And when he peeled up, I realized I wasn't going after a Tony. I was going after an Australian. And so I peeled up and made a steep turn and sat down right beside his left wing, which almost amazed him because it was quite a maneuver for him. And I looked over, and my wingman on his second mission was suddenly awake. And here he coming like Hitler is. And I was radioing him. I said, don't shoot, don't shoot. And I didn't know whether I could stop him or not, so I peeled over to the right of the guy. I was on his left wing. I swung over to his right wing, so I'd be between him and the new guy. And of course, he didn't want to shoot me, and he certainly knew who I was. And then I explained to him it's an Australian boomerang. And that is the trip where there could have been a really disturbance between Australia boomerang thinking we were Tonys, and me, he was attacking us, which gave me every right to fire on him. But he acted like a Japanese, and he was a single engine fighter. And so I went, that's what I wanted, a zero to attack me. He attacked my wingman, but I knew I didn't let him vote on it, but he had nothing to worry about because I'm going to be between you and that guy. And we went back and landed, and I never did explain that to him, but he was dumb. On a guy on his first mission had never been shot at, and of course I've been shot at every day, and so I'm really trained in this area by now. So the next mission they planned was they give him to me again, and he was not trained as a wingman. A wingman's got jobs and that's he's responsible for. He's responsible for protecting my tail. I'm responsible for the whole flight. And we went to a Japanese airfield was loaded with anti-aircraft guns. No fighters, because I'd have been thrilled to death if there had been fighters there, because I was looking for a fight. But the anti-air guns are frightening, and they don't have to hit you, they just hit close to you. And I went over there, and I went through the planes above, and I dove down, peeled off with the flight, and dove down to their airfield, and I dropped my 500-pound bombs on their runway so they couldn't use it. And he was diving behind me, so I thought everything was working all right, and he was getting through okay. And I leveled out to sea, probably 100 foot off the water. And I leveled off and went out to sea. And I looked back, and here comes my wingman. He pulled up in formation on my left wing. And then I looked. He went through all of that and all those anti-aircraft guns and forgot to drop his bomb. And I thought, well, and this is where I made a mistake. What in the hell are you doing with that bomb? You're supposed to have dropped it back there. I said, don't carry it home with you. Drop it off. You'll feed them some fish or something like that. I didn't know he didn't know don't drop it on armed. You drop it on safe. And we were only 100 foot off the water. Now, I don't know whether we were still 100 or what we were. Undoubtedly, we was at the correct altitude because he dropped an armed 500-pound bomb when we're low on the water, and it went off. And I tell you, I like to drop my, but that was my mistake. He was not trained for that. And when I said drop it, I should have said, be sure and arm the bomb and then drop it. But he did not. And we're lucky, me and him both are lucky. The water flew up and we both was in an area but we both managed to get through. And I have to tell you, I think that was sheer luck. It ought to blow their wings off with us that close to the 500-pound bomb when it went off. But I never dawned on me he would drop it armed. But he did. And the reason I named it Yearly War between Texas and Australia, for I'm from Texas, and he's from Australia. And he thought we were Tonys, and he planned his dive and everything on my wingman. And I planned my whole trip around using my wingman as a target. And I'm going to let him come in, and I'm going to get between him and my target, and we're going to shoot it out. I thought he was a Tony. He thought I was a...
I thought he was a zero.
Anyway, and he thought we were Tonys. Actually, he was an Australian and we were American, but was in the same combat area. And he was smart enough shoulder to not fire until he was sure what the target was. And I was sure the advantage was his. But I had all my sights right on the top of his canopy. And we neither one fired until we knew what we were shooting. And luckily, we both was attacked in the and that is the one I thought was nearly a war between Texas and Australia. And that's the one I gave you all today.